Sad and Vonnie, you see another trucker. What's the word? A couple of days ago, doing a little surfing, looking at some trucking content, and surfing through the comment section. And on one video, I seen an interesting comment, and I don't know, I can't remember verbatim what the guy said, but basically to the point that he was saying being an OTR truck driver ain't gonna do nothing but lead you to being homeless. I thought that was interesting. How you feel about that? OTR driver? Especially being out here for a while. You feel like being OTR has led you to being homeless? You know what? I completely disagree with that statement. And to that person, and whoever else feel like that person, or had those same type of sentiments about trucking or driving over the road, because that person also said I guess they've been in the industry for over a decade or something like that. You know what I'm saying? And basically just try to generalize their experience as what everybody else's experience is going to be. So, with that said, the question got to be posed to the person or the people that think like that. Like, how did you end up in that situation in trucking? Because a person don't have to be in a situation. A person don't have to. The only thing you have to do in trucking is drive a truck to get to the money. And hey, even so much after a while, you get into wanting to build up a fleet. Put yourself in a position where you don't have to drive a truck no more. You know what I'm saying? I've been saying this for a long time. Since I've been consistently making videos, trucking is an open world. You can paint your own picture in trucking. So this person has to ask themselves the question, how did that happen? How did you end up being a trucker for so long to where driving over the roads just end up leading you just to being homeless? How does that generalize into possibly being everybody else's experience because it was your experience? I'm here to combat that. You know what I'm saying? But I can tell you one thing, for a person that think like that, and for any other person that's on that same frequency of thinking, I can tell you this. Those are people that came into trucking, that's been in trucking with no plan, no structure, no real vision to work towards. And this is why I always say it's important to have a plan. Because without a plan, you'll spend your time in this industry feeling just like that. And for some people, they've been and done this trucking, have been in trucking for so long, they feel like this is the only thing that they can do, so they trapped. And being trapped and doing something that you really don't like to do, or something that you're tired of, it's not a good combination. So this is why I always say it's important to have a plan when you come into trucking. What do I mean by plan? Subjectively, when I talk about having a plan, so your plan could be anything. Your plan could just be going to get, you just want to come in the trucking to get you a fast car and a girlfriend. You know what I'm saying? If that's your plan, then hey, you got something to keep you going. But when I talk about people having a plan, I'm talking about people creating plans for themselves, or having a plan for themselves to level up in some type of way while you're in this industry. Either to level up outside this industry, or to level up while you're in this industry. I believe a person should have a plan to level up. Just doing this without no plan, just out here willy-nilly, it ain't worth it. Not to me. Because you're going to give up a lot of time. You're going to make a lot of sacrifices doing this. Why not make it worth it while you in it? That's just how I think. And, I'm just a truck driver. You know what I'm saying? I ain't nobody. I'm just a person with an opinion, with a subjective opinion. But if you watching my videos and you hearing what I'm saying, this is what I'm saying. Because without a plan, you'll end up feeling like that person. Feeling like they've been in this industry for however long they've been in this industry, and it has led them to nothingness. And I don't agree with that at all. Trucking is what you make it. This is why I always say, with a plan, keeping your CDL clean, hell, getting all your endorsements, good work ethic, or you're a person that's willing to run, the sky's the limit in this industry. You don't have to stay OTR. You don't have to stay in one division. You don't have to be a company driver. You don't have to do a lease purchase. The sky's the limit. You don't have to do general freight. You know what I'm saying? But for some people, man, they get in certain grooves and they get stuck there. You got a clean CDL with all your endorsements. There's no reason for you to be stuck. As a matter of fact, I need to go finish getting all my endorsements. All I need is doubles and triples. I have all my endorsements. And I don't even care about doubles and triples. That ain't nothing I'm looking forward to doing at all. But just to have it all. You know what I'm saying? So especially for the person that's new in this industry or coming into this industry, you should get all your endorsements. Make the sky the limit. And sometimes the level up gonna take sacrifice. I was telling somebody that I know from around the way, somebody I used to work with some years ago, outside of trucking. They ended up coming into trucking a few years after me. I don't know, this was like a couple years ago when I talked to them, but I think at the time they was doing like a Dollar General account. And they was asking me about the hazmat tanker and how could they go about getting into that. I told from what I knew and understood, for them to get trained doing hazmat tanker, you're gonna have to go to a company that's gonna possibly train you. And most likely they probably gonna make you probably gonna have to start all over from scratch with that company. Like you're gonna have to get trained. You know what I'm saying? Like I honestly don't know how that would go, but just from my assumption, you know, they would probably have to go to a company that's gonna train them on that. So I suggested they should look into Snyder, but they didn't. They made the comment that they didn't. They felt like that was going backwards because they was already in a routine of what they was doing, and they didn't want to take the pay cut. Hey man, to me that person ain't see the bigger picture, because to get your hazmat endorsement and to get off in the hazmat tankers from doing general freight, if you can't see the bigger picture and willing to sacrifice, you know what I'm saying? Gotta be able to see the bigger picture, family. So this is why I say you always gotta have a plan, or I would suggest. And not only, when it comes to leveling up meaning finances, getting your finances in order. Whether it's getting your credit straight, whatever it might be. You know what I'm saying? Part of leveling up, the major part of leveling up is getting your money right. That's a major part of leveling up. I think if you take advantage of trucking in a certain way, that can be possible. It's highly possible. I see a lot of people make comparisons as far as like, hold on real quick. I see a lot of people make comparisons like between the money that you get for the hours that you sacrifice for trucking as compared to like the money that you get in the hours that you give up for working like a stationary job, working like in a fast food place or working like in a warehouse or something like that. And from what I've seen, a lot of people always calculate it up that a lot of these minimum wage jobs or these low paying jobs with the time versus what you earn income at a stationary job is pays more than being an overall trucker. And I can see that. I can see that because you do give up a lot of hours in this trucking. I never really sat down and done the numbers myself, you know what I'm saying? But I can see that. I believe that to be valid. If you just going off strictly hours and you know what I'm saying, the time that you give up, the time that you got to spend to make a certain amount of money, yeah, I can see that. But it's a caveat to everything. So yeah, a person that might work at a warehouse or work at a fast food joint or franchise or whatever the case may be, somebody that's working a minimum wage or a low paying wage, stationary job, they might, yeah, true, they might be making more money than an entry level over the road driver for the most part. But a lot of times, you know how they go, man. When you working local or you working at a stationary job, you got to live somewhere. You need transportation to get back and forth to work. So more than likely, you're going to be paying bills. Either you're going to be paying bills by yourself or you're going to be living with somebody paying bills, especially if you are an adult. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you could be fortunate enough to have living with somebody probably still young enough to where it's okay to live with your parents or where you don't have to worry about bills. But most people is going to have to be worried about paying bills. But see, the thing with being an OTR driver, from my perspective, you can take advantage of that. And it's true, yeah. Maybe some of those companies, maybe some of those types of jobs would make more money hourly compared to the hours that you spend making the money that you make being an OTR driver. But the thing is, with the right plan, you can stack up more money than those people working on stationary jobs. In a general case, yes. It's just like the young homie who I've been referring to in some of my last few videos. Homie said he stacked up $30,000 in 2 years. A lot of people can't do that. And I'm pretty sure he did that being an over the road driver, you know, homeless, being a homeless driver. There are more people to where it's hard to save up that type of money in that amount of time that it is people who can save up that amount of money. Just the average American, the average working person, a lot of people can't save up that type of money. It's hard. So, yeah, people might say, well, OTR, people that's making minimum wage is making more than you and this and that. And yeah, it's true. And this is exactly why I say you got to have a plan and a vision. When I came in the truck and I didn't lean on these numbers and all this, I leaned on my vision. That's what I leaned on. You know what I'm saying? A person coming in the trucking with the right plan, especially if you coming in the truck, you like, you know what? I'm finna get my money together. I'm finna get my credit up. I'm not finna take the responsibility of no car notes. I'm not paying no rent, no mortgages. I'm coming up in here bare ass naked. I'm gonna live in this truck and I'm gonna stack this bread up. My suggestion for people coming into trucking, if you can, that should be the vision. To me, that's the best way to come in the truck, especially when you starting off from nothing. That's the best way, because even if you coming in the truck and you got a foundation, you got bills to pay, car note, rent, mortgage, and you starting off in trucking, woo, might be a little shaky. Might be a little shaky. Because you still got to get your groove in this, especially when you first starting out. You know what I'm saying? As a lot of us know, the money be funny when you first start out. A lot of times, you know. I witnessed that when I first started. I didn't really have no complaints about it. Um, but as far as I honestly, man, when I started off over the road, my first 5 months OTR, I don't really remember it being dispatchers not giving me no loads, man. It just seemed like a lot of stuff just had to do, you know, for one thing, me getting over the learning curve of trucking. Then you got to deal with shippers and receivers playing with your time and stuff like that. So, nevertheless, you know what I'm saying? It be kind of rocky when you first start. And when you coming from a foundation where you already got responsibilities, it's gonna be kind of tough. But if you one of those people who have the ability to come in the trucking and leave everything behind, you know what I'm saying? You don't really have to worry about nobody depending on you, and you can just come up in here fresh and clean, and all you got to do is worry about what's in front of you. That's one of the best positions to be in. And yeah, you know, true enough, you're gonna be giving up more time, giving up more hours to make it, you know what I'm saying, to make the type of money that might be lesser than the type of money that somebody working minimum wage might make. True enough, on paper. But you shouldn't be worried about that. You should be having your plan and your vision to level up, to get your money right, to do whatever. You know what I'm saying? Getting your money right, leveling up is, to me, is putting your money into things that's going to either make you money or that's going to grow in value in due time. It could be leveling up just to get you a certain amount of money to start some type of business outside of trucking. So you can be leveling up to get out of trucking, or leveling up to grow within the trucking industry. But either way, that's what I mean when I say having a plan to level up. So it all depends on how you look at it, family. It all depends on how you look at it. Um, you know, when I was doing OTR, man, I never thought I was homeless. I never looked at it like that. Hey, when you got your paper stacked up, when you can put yourself in a position to stack some bread up, being in this industry, man, and you got your CDL, you got a clean CDL, you got all your endorsements, and you got a work ethic, the sky's the limit. I don't really see what could stop you then, except for your own thinking. I don't really see what can do that. You know, from what that person said, from what this video was inspired by that comment, you know, OTR trucking ain't gonna do nothing but lead you to just being a homeless driver, you know, a zero-sum game in the end. I mean, that's how that person think. That ain't gotta be you. Like I said before, man, when I hear stuff like that, people like that talk like that, in my mind, they just fall into the category of people that just had the lack of preparation. Lack of preparation, lack of a plan, lack of consistency, lack of focus, lack of grind. It's real talk, man. You know, and I talk about preparation a lot, especially when it comes like to people getting their own truck. And Yeah, on the side note, sometimes when it comes to preparation or preparing for things, sometimes you just got to do things. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do. Um, before I don't want to get too deep off in that, but I will just say I touch on preparation a lot, right? So I've had people come in my comment section and just basically make the statement or question, well, what's the point of? I've literally had somebody come in the comment section and say, what is the point of doing all this preparing and planning when you don't even know if you're going to be alive in the future? I, from my perspective, I thought that was a crazy comment. I thought that was a wild comment. And hey man, I just know I've been on this earth long enough to know that it don't feel good when things in life happen and life catch you slipping with your pants down because you unprepared. When before that you had all the opportunity in the world to be prepared. A lot of people that's been in trucking for a long time and feel like it's a zero sum game, it don't add up to nothing. They ain't been doing this trucking for nothing for a long time. Person been in this game for 10 years and they feel like this ain't amounted to nothing for them. Trust me, it's been great times they didn't have. They ain't just been doing this trucking just suffering for the whole 10 years straight. Like that's insanity. If a person was doing that. At some point in time, a lot of people that's been doing this or doing something for a long time and they grow bitter about it after a while. A lot of it got to do with what they was doing, with the resources that they was getting. And when things in the economy go bad, it start changing things generally for everybody in different fields and walks of life, then they blame everybody else and everything else but they self. I don't relate to that. Like the cats from New York be saying, I ain't jacking that. I ain't jacking that at all. So yeah, man, that person, somebody was like, yeah, what's the point of doing all this planning and preparation when you don't even know if you're gonna be alive in the future? And that type of mentality right there, man, I think that's a weak mentality. And a lot of times, especially in our community, you know what I'm saying? People that look like me, we suffer greatly from the lack of preparation. We suffer greatly from the lack of preparation. Every time somebody passes away, we got to put up a GoFundMe. What does that do to lack of preparation? A lot of us we carry this mantra and this mindset that is like hooray for the day and fuck tomorrow, which is cool. You know what I'm saying? When things is going good, hooray for the day and fuck tomorrow. But what happens when life happens? What happens if something happened to you and the people that you leave behind to survive you and your family, your moms, your grandparents, your grandmoms, your auntie, your sisters, or whatever women. Because a lot of times I done seen this a lot. Something happen to dudes. Dudes suddenly leave planet Earth for whatever reason. The women in their family that they leave behind got to be stuck with the burden of trying to figure out how to get the finances to get a loved one a proper burial. So now they got to put up GoFundMe's. Now they got to get up in the kitchen and roll their sleeves up and fry catfish and make spaghetti dinners to bury you. Due to what? Lack of preparation. Live for the day, fuck tomorrow. But when tomorrow come, a lot of people don't be ready. What happens when medical issues occur and you was living like that your whole life? Hooray for the day, fuck tomorrow. You didn't prepare. Now you want somebody to pray for you because you laying up in a hospital bed about to get your leg amputated. You know what I'm saying? Like, it get real, man. It get real. Cause I thought like that too for a long time in my younger years. Hooray for the day, fuck tomorrow. Oh man, I need this money right now. I gotta do what I gotta do right now. I want what I want right now. Man, you start getting older and you start realizing certain things. I know, you know what I'm saying? Mm-mm. I think that's a whack way to live. The lack of preparation. And a lot of people that's been in this trucking industry for a while, and them the ones who saying that trucking ain't this, trucking ain't that. It's a zero sum game. It ain't gonna amount to nothing. A lot of those people didn't prepare when the good times was around. I learned that early on, especially having my own truck. Or when I first, you know what I'm saying, got my truck. When I started going through some rough patches within my first 2 years, man, I realized early on, like, you know what? I see the trick. I see the trick to this. When things are going good, that's the time that where you have to be the most conservative. Or at least that's how I think. That's how I think. When things is going good, that's the time that you got to be most conservative. But a lot of people, when things is going good, that's when they partying. That's when they flexing. You know what I'm saying? And then when things turn back around for the worse, they ain't got no cushion. They not prepared to deal with the drought or whatever situation they in. So, hey man, you know, I'm just putting some clarification out there. You know, for people who come across these type of statements, come across these type of people to say these type of things. You gotta have your own mind. It would be greatly advised to have a whole vision, man. Have some type of structure, something that you're working towards. And yes, you know, sometimes you can make the most grandiose, precise plans. Your plans are not gonna go how you plan them all the time. But when you have an overall vision, you know what I'm saying? And plus, when you live in your life according to like a philosophy, you know, a lot of younger people don't really probably might not understand what I'm talking about. But as you get older, you know, you start developing your mantra in life, your philosophies in life. And a lot of times your mantras and your philosophies in life will help you build your vision, man. And if you got a solid vision that entails growth in all areas of your life, long as you lean on that, you're gonna be straight. Cause yeah, you can make plans. Okay, I got this goal by the quarter. By the first quarter, I want to do this. By the second quarter of the year, I want to do this. And sometimes your plans, your immediate plans, is not gonna go as planned. But long as you stick to the vision, long as you stick to the script, things will start to round themselves out and come to life, and pop out in color in due time. Straight up. So I don't know, man. I mean, if I don't know. But to just think that going OTR is gonna make you homeless or it's just gonna lead you to being homeless, I totally disagree with those thoughts. I ain't jacking it. So take that as you will, man. Vonnie EC. Finna get on up out of here. Be safe.